What it do, what it do? It's been a minute. You know, I've been laxing, but I'm back now. I'm starting to be more consistent with y'all dropping these goddamn videos, but here we go. Back at it again today with another one, the cruel fall of Tony Ferguson. I got a couple more videos I'm gonna drop either later on today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow. But let's get right into it.
In a sport where champions rise and fall in cruel fashion, one fighter stands apart. A legend known as the type of guy to win a belt, only to get its type of guy to wear sunglasses in the dark, to couldn't wait for a canceled event, to knock on your door with a spinning elbow, to shadow box and win by submission, to kick metal pipes to heal a leg injury. The type of guy to win our hearts, only to break it. Those who've witnessed his fall call him Tony Ferguson, but those who speak of his legacy know him as El Kukui, the boogeyman.
I feel bad, but this is something that happened in sports. Is like one day you're at the top of your game, next day you falling from grace, just like that, just like that.
With no hyphen it, it's an uprising, they sounding all sirens. Levels to the game, I'm wondering how high it is.
That mother back there is not real. And you can
hold on, brother, I'm talking.
But even the boogeyman has a nemesis. Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest fighters of all time, and in many ways, the polar opposite of Tony Ferguson. The destiny of the two men would be deeply intertwined, yet one would rise to superstardom, and the other go through one of the most cruel downfall in the history of the sport.
This kid's a bully. He's never been in a street fight, never actually been thrown into a trash can or like any kind of shit like that.
Who are you? You never fight in the street. You American guy. In American, you cannot fight in the street.
You never fight in the
I
street.
am from real mountain. I can eat you in street fight. Where are you from? Where are you from?
This how you know, motherfuckers, as no matter how old you get, that base instinct to prove who's the bigger and tougher man, it always comes back. You think Khabib said, I'll eat you in a street fight. What you gonna do? You gonna do nothing to me in a street fight. What you talking about?
Where are you from? For example,
I'm from Oxnard.
okay.
Not much is known about Tony's biological father.
My dad wasn't there in the picture.
Like
Shortly after he was born,
killers and
his
shooters
mother married a
out there. Like,
Scottish-American man, Armand Ferguson.
I took my stepdad's this time, and he was there since I was little.
And I ended up moving to Michigan.
My stepdad, he moved me out there. You know, I grew up on 40 acres, so
that's crazy, yo.
I got trained in the military, so it was a little bit different, man. You know, so I had to cut cords of wood. A cord of wood is like a stack of wood. And so we had to do that, and then we had to stack wood in the basement.
The hard labor that his father put him through would plant the seeds for the unconventional training.
I know this too. I don't know if a lot of people notice it, but I've always noticed this. Like most fighters, whether it's boxing, any combat sport where you get punch kicked, those are poverty sports. Let's think about it. You don't see no well-to-do kid who's got a good home and his family got money and they well-to-do and they set in life and he grew up pretty financially good and he fights for a living. It's almost like 3 or 4 kids in the history of like combat sports that did that. Most kids or most people that end up in that life who fight for a living come from poverty-stricken situations.
Methods that Tony would be known for all his life.
So you got the discipline and everything.
So he did it on purpose. I'm gonna raise you this way so that way you know exactly what you don't want.
Is that who kid? What the fuck is Tony Ferguson doing up there with who kid?
I've always been a fighter since I was little, and I've always had the support of my family, and that just makes it just a killer combination.
But outside of his family, Tony found himself isolated from others.
Coming from like seeing a bunch of brown people to like, you know, being like a hillbilly town, you know. I got picked on a lot, and unfortunately I was known as a little Mexican with big ears. It's kind of like you had to find your way in order to go overcome that. Mine was sports.
And one sport in particular showed him a path toward greatness.
For me, being little, I always wanted to be boxer. You know, I have, you know, like Fernando Vargas, Oscar De La Hoya, and you had like Trinidad, and you had a lot of these different boxers that were there, and I was just like, man, I want to be that guy, you know? They just had like a different aura about them, just a personality that you just like, man.
So if I didn't have that visual to see what it was.
There's some kids that grew up pretty good and decided to get into combat sports, but I'm pretty sure they never was a world champion. It's almost slim to none that they're going to make it to the world championship because the drive and the dedication and the will to win and to take your family out of certain situations because you grew up so rough and so hard. When you grew up living pretty all right, you're not trying to get punched in the face for a living. You got so many other things you could do.
It's like I would have never been able to get there, but I had people create that visual for me.
I bought a speed bag when I was about 15 years old.
So it was always watching movies and asking
Crawford situation. His mom's paying people to come beat his ass. Like that is some psychological mind fuck right there. Think about that. Like your mother paying kids in the neighborhood to come try to beat you up. Even though you're winning, it's like that's mind fucking. She's saying he's never gonna be nothing. Yo. And that's how it usually is for these dudes who get into fighting sports. They ain't grow up nice.
I love competition. Competition saved my life.
But Tony ends up dropping out of college and starts working as a bartender. He slowly starts drifting away from the vision he had set for himself.
When I weighed about 205 pounds.
See, I can't believe that.
I was about 205 pounds. I was smoking cigars, wasting money on stupid shit, stupid stuff.
Right.
It just wasn't me anymore. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna go back to California where my family's at. And I go into this bar with my cousin. I was looking for a bartending job. I go in there and he's like, no, we don't have any bartending spots open. He's like, you want to be a security guard? You look like, you know, you can handle your business with your ears. And I said, nah, I'm not interested.
The man wouldn't give him a job, but he did change his life forever.
He hands me a West Coast Jiu-Jitsu card. I looked at the card and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go. I walked right in. Had holes in my jeans, I had a cut-off t-shirt. Looked like fresh off the boat.
This guy comes over. You never know what's gonna be the side effect or the thing that changed you to go down another path. Some dude just hand him a jiu-jitsu card or like, oh, try this there's a boxing gym down the street. You like, oh, might as well go in there. Next thing you know, 10 years later, you two-time world champion. It's like, you never know what it's gonna be.
Rafuyo.
What that
said, where's your gloves, kid?
Path is gonna take you.
I don't have any. I was using the ones that I lost and found. He goes, turns around, he comes back, and he had a brand new pair of ringside boxing gloves. And mind you, I had like maybe $5 to my name. He's my grandma's card, and he gives me these gloves. And it was the coolest thing that anybody could have ever did to give me the tools that I needed to get into fighting.
And it was the only opportunity I ever asked for. Anytime anybody gave me an opportunity, I used it. I never let it go to waste. And it was like the golden opportunity for me to accept that my reality is I am an athlete, I am a professional, and this is where I belong.
I went back home, told my parents, because they were the only ones that really mattered. I was like, you know what, all these other jobs, these side jobs are bullshit. Because I'm an athlete, I'm a professional athlete.
Tony called himself a professional athlete before he actually was.
I'm trying to get in the UFC. I try and say you will be. I don't see that.
Made that decision and man, took a big ass chance. You know, barely making rent, barely paying a phone bill, but from that moment on, it was just music to my ears.
And sometimes that's what it
I was an amateur fighter, dude. I was working at Coffee Bean.
Struggling.
Lifting green coffee off of the semi-trucks onto pallets. I was just like, had all these random odd jobs, but it was always like I was lifting.
Yeah, you got that.
I would do it, and I would handle like 100 some odd bags. Throwing this, and I was getting beefy.
You almost got like a naiveness to you where you feel like you can't be stopped, and that's a good thing. It's actually a good thing. Sometimes it can be diluted to where you kind of fucking think you're a great fighter and you really suck. But when you actually a good fighter and you young, it's that enthusiasm, that testosterone you got, number one, to just go do it and get that drive to go do it. It's nothing like it.
Tony hears about the UFC's reality show, The Ultimate Fighter.
I'd never watched the show. I didn't know what was going on. I talked to my coach. I was like, hey, I'm gonna try.
And stuff you're willing to do when you got, that's why people commit crimes. You don't got no food. Your kids is hungry. Bills coming up. You about to get evicted. That's why people commit crimes. Because when your back is against the wall and you hungry, you'll be surprised what you're willing to do. So you see Tony Ferguson, he fucking doing some bullshit dead end job like most people. He's like, yo, this is not for me. He just got that drive to go get it. So you'd rather get in the cage and punch people in the face.
Try out for the show. He's like, you know what the show is, right? And I was like, no, I just know it's what I have to do to get in the UFC.
But he gets rejected.
I would survive off of like $5 a day, but it was that hunger that kept me on top of everything.
He loses his first professional fight against Karen Darabidi, who pops a tendon in his leg. After the fight, he goes to a bar and meets a girl. We danced, and it was funny because I totally forgot about my leg being broken. She turned my world upside down.
She's always been that sponsor for me, like, not through money, but always been that mental sponsor.
Her name was Christina, and she became his wife.
I went and got a ring. I was trying to get down on her knee, and she said yes before she looked at the ring, but I was like, no. She was choking me with a hug. I was like, no, you gotta look at the ring.
See, that's where the Tony Ferguson XT comes in. That's Christina and Conan.
His second application to The Ultimate Fighter also gets rejected, but Tony's the type of guy who applies 3 times.
I told him, I was like, I tried out 3 times for this. You guys need to take me. I was like, I've been taking this seriously. I don't have any other jobs. This is exactly what I was born to do. Fighting is in my DNA.
Our pick is Tony Ferguson.
My nose is always in the gym, and this is my passion. This is very important. My mom called me Mr. Destiny. This is my destiny. You know, if you want something, you have a dream, what you do is you fight for it.
Tony's nasty, and Brock Lesnar feels he's the best guy here.
And see how far he came.
Tony tears through the competition, but finds
not
himself in a
wrong. I
weird
don't know what Brock
situation.
Lesnar seen in him, but he wasn't wrong. Because look how far Tony came.
Tony, don't start a fight.
Are you getting serious?
You good?
Are you good?
You know, you would be one of these
He's looking at
situations
you.
here where it's kind of
Really?
awkward, like it's tension, like what's going on, like we about to fight, what we doing? It's like,
You getting serious?
you good?
Tony,
Look at me.
be nice.
Look at me.
But then you see somebody's true colors when they start drinking, and Tony's definitely got way out of hand.
I could
Where's your
have
kid at? Where's your kid at?
Tony naturally without fucking liquor and drugs is a fucking psycho, so I can really imagine him drunk.
Tony, you know, bringing up my son was definitely below the belt.
Back then, his
like I
teammate Charlie
said,
Rader was in a custody battle.
You don't talk about another man's son.
Where's your kid at? Don't say it. Hey, where's your kid at? Don't say it.
The only time in this situation, yeah,
Tony that he's
if you're about to fight, like this is your opponent, I don't think there's no such thing as
Most of Tony's journey is incredibly inspiring, but this is the trickiest part to discuss.
You're the only motherfucker that ever said something that you shouldn't. Where's your son?
Are you kidding me?
Tony.
Are you kidding me?
Definitely an angry drunk.
Where
and
is
can't
your
handle his
child?
alcohol, and me personally, I've lost a lot of respect for Tony. This isn't the first time
Well, you don't
that I've
care
been
about
on
that.
by myself.
So
Regardless
it's a
if
really
I
for
do
themselves.
or don't have a
Especially in
problem,
this
or if
world.
I have an anger or not an anger problem, that's my choice.
But we're not meant to have all the answers. Sometimes in the pursuit of our goals, seeking help is the right thing to do. That's why I reached out to BetterHelp so they would sponsor this video. In the past year, I've had some people very close to me go through some really dark times. And while I didn't have the right words or tools to help them, I turned to BetterHelp. It was a catalyst that helped them turn their lives around. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more accessible and affordable. Finding a therapist, fighting in the show's finale.
I kept a lot of stuff bottled up and I brought a lot of inner demons with me inside there. But every single fight, what I did was I tried to fight them out. You don't leave it all out there.
Right after Tony wins The Ultimate Fighter, another incident happens. Tony allegedly had a mental break after winning The Ultimate Fighter 13. He flew home to visit his parents in Michigan and was removed from the flight because of an alleged outburst. Christina wrote that Tony went to the hospital in Michigan and was prescribed a medication that can be used to treat schizophrenia and bipolar. Now, the good news is that it won't happen again for a while. Tony and Christina get married in 2012, and things get better until 2017. It also coincides with Tony's iconic rise in the UFC.
This is a rat race, but I'm no rat. I'm a turtle, ninja turtle. So which one's your favorite? I like Michelangelo.
Yeah, they gon' have to build statues in our honor. Swam with the sharks, it made us piranhas. We ain't backing down, we don't run from drama. That's a promise, that's a promise. They gon' have to build statues in our honor. Swam with the sharks, it made us piranhas. We ain't backing down, we don't run from drama. That's a promise, that's a promise.
And El Cucuy is scarier than the boogeyman. I hunt beasts, so the top 10 guys that are in the shark division for the lightweight, you guys watch out, because I'm coming for you.
Honestly, Tony wasn't the most skilled fighter. What really took him far and kept him in the game for as long as it did was his toughness. Him being tough and cardio. Cardio wins a lot of fights. Realistically, when you think about a lot of fights, the better fighter didn't win. The person with better cardio win. So is he really the better fighter, or did he just have better cardio? Something to think about.
This is my weight class. You want to talk shit? I'll be the first one to sign that dotted line. Mark my words, bro. You're going to get the real El Cucuy. I don't even care.
Tony Ferguson is an animal. And Eddie said he's never seen anything like this guy. Yeah. He said the guy trains for 6 hours a day.
Yeah. He's legit crazy.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if he feels pain. That kind of crazy.
They do these hill sprints, and he said he laps everybody. He goes all the way to the top before they do, goes down, and then beats them on the way up.
A year after Tony's UFC debut, another legend in the making enters the UFC, the Eagle.
They gon' have to build statues in our honor. Swam with the sharks.
Eagle
It made us piranhas.
soaring down
Backing
to
down. We don't run from
body is
drama.
prey.
That's a promise. That's a promise. They gon' have to build statues.
Seeing how things played out, I think Khabib would beat Tony. I think he'd beat him.
Swam with the sharks. It made us piranhas. We ain't backing down. We don't run from drama.
And it's not even because how Tony's career, the trajectory, how it went, none of that. It's just stylistically, I think Khabib would have took him down. And then he would just beat him up.
Tony and Khabib are set to fight in 2015, but an injury forces Khabib out of the fight. He'll be inactive for 2 years. During that time, Tony and Christina welcome their first child. A second fight against Khabib is scheduled in 2016.
More, I love it.
Blah, 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 blah.
No BS, just get there, all right? Just get there.
But this time, Tony pulls out.
What was your reaction when you found out that Tony was pulling out of the fight?
I'm so upset about this because I finally want to fight Tony Ferguson. I really want this fight.
That's when another notorious character enters the picture.
Who the is that guy?
After becoming the featherweight champion, Conor McGregor gets a title shot at lightweight against Eddie Alvarez. After winning the lightweight title, Conor starts chasing a boxing match against Floyd Mayweather. In doing so, becoming inactive in the UFC.
When is Conor compete last time in MMA? I forget about this.
Long time, almost 2 years.
Yeah, long time. He's boxing guy.
Are we close to seeing you fighting?
Yes, very close.
So is it official yet?
That's not official, but we're close.
Defend or vacate. That's what I've always been saying. If you don't hold that belt for a certain amount of time, you gotta let it go, son.
His career got held up by a bunch of unfortunate incidences in terms of injuries, Conor and his bullshit, Khabib missing weight. I think he got injured one time. Tony Ferguson tripped over a cord. COVID fucked up the last one. That's when Justin Gaethje came in. Oh my God.
I think they're gonna strip him because Conor's got $100 million in the bank. And I think he's having fun. But I think Khabib versus Tony is the big fight.
Everybody's been waiting to see that fight.
Yeah, that's a big fight.
So the UFC schedules Khabib versus Tony again, this time for the lightweight title.
Well, this is the third time that we're supposed to be fighting here.
And
so hopefully he
this
shows
is
up.
when I think it was like April 4th. Tony trips over a cord, blows his knees out, ACL, MCL, double XL, BMW, all them shit.
And the next thing that brings into mind is bubble wrap. Okay, I hope the kid doesn't get hurt. And I know that I say that out there, but honestly, I never wish anybody bad luck. The coaching staff, I hope you guys can take care of your boy and get him there safe because I'm gonna give him his first loss.
Let's see if third time's a charm.
I mean, this is the third time that I've had to be able to read my opponent, see it
This
up
is the
close
one
and
where he
personal.
tripped over the cord.
You thought he looked a little big. The dude looked sucked up, man. I mean, the day before, the fight, I was like, if I looked like he felt, I was like, man, I'd be in some trouble. So the first, one thing I thought of, I was like, man, have fun with that weight cut. You don't look like you have the energy to lose it.
After cutting his weight, Tony takes a nap.
And
as soon as I woke up from the nap,
this is not the one where Tony blew his fucking knee out. This is the one when Khabib missed weight. And it was like Tony like jinxed it. He was like, "Oh, you eating tiramisu and miss fucking weight."
I'm like, man,
Not
what the
miss
hell?
weight.
Like,
He
people look like
couldn't
they're
make
like somebody
weight.
died or
That's what it
something.
is. He couldn't
And
make
they were
weight.
like, Tony, Khabib is sick.
Hospital.
He went to the hospital.
What went through your mind when you got that news?
I thought it was a nightmare, man. Something worse than El Cucuy.
If you're Tony Ferguson and your mindset is you're going to fight Khabib for the title, obviously there's more money involved in that fight and the whole deal. It's devastating.
I'm a man. I have a family support, and I know I understand it's a business. But the time and the effort that I put into this, and especially Khabib, just kind of sucks.
Tony expresses his support for Khabib, but changes his tune once he sees this video.
How many? Three? 3 tiramisu. This is Russian style. Before it, we eat tiramisu.
But after I found out it was
the
due to just,
tiramisu shit.
just
Yep.
being unprofessional and
Kept
stuff, and
talking
then
that tiramisu shit.
I started getting mad, started hitting the bags. And
The UFC replaces Khabib
Tony's
with
like,
Kevin
bro,
Lee.
what the
Kevin
fuck are
Lee,
you doing?
you got problems, buddy. His name is El Cucuy.
Kevin Lee could have won this fight too. Kevin Lee had staff. I think Tony Ferguson might have beat him anyway even if he didn't have staff, but that's it is a contributing factor. I mean, Kevin Lee took him out relatively easy, but Kevin Lee is the front runner. Unless he's completely dominating the fight, you start getting any type
Tony
of
wins the
resistance or
interim
any
belt,
type
but
of-
still has business to settle.
You fighting him back. He
Dana,
gonna
what
fold up
time
like
is
a
it?
lawn chair every time.
Show these
Like he
guys.
always
What
do.
time is it, guys?
It's tiramisu time, bitch.
The winner of this fight will be the champion.
No matter what you say, Khabib's gonna
This is
lose,
when Tony
and
Blue's
he's gonna lose
fucking
in
ACL, MCL,
fast.
10
double
wins
XL.
straight versus
and all that
55
other
wins straight. Let's go.
Tripping cord doing press for the UFC.
When did you find out that Tony Ferguson was injured and might be out of the fight? When did you first hear about this?
It is April 1st, which I'm sure many of you know is April Fool's Day.
Did you think it was a joke at first? Like, was
Yes,
it hard?
yes.
Yeah, you're gonna think it's a joke. I thought it was a fucking joke.
There
I'm
are
like,
no
what?
April Fool's jokes here today.
I'm like,
This interview is
why?
entirely
Why?
legitimate, correct?
Unfortunately, it is, yes.
He's out. I can't believe, how he's out. Everything is finished.
Tony does an interview during fight week when he trips over a cable.
He tore his LCL, and apparently that's an injury that you don't need surgery on, but he actually tore it off the bone. He's going to need surgery.
What Dana said was very savage. What he said, Dana said, he wears those sunglasses indoors. That should happen to everybody that wears sunglasses indoors.
Habib still fights for the belt, but in the lead up to the fight, gets attacked by Conor McGregor.
Like, I know that ain't have nothing to do with it, but it's just like
it becomes
we
clear
just
that
look
Habib
for any
versus
re-
Conor
we're
is the
gonna look
next
for
fight
any
that's gonna happen
reason
for
to
the
talk shit
title.
about it.
In doing so,
We're gonna
leaving
bring that
Tony
up
aside. Stripped
every
from the
single
belt,
time
he never
because you wear
lost.
They
sunglasses
decide,
and look
Tony,
like a
you're not
fucking
champion
weirdo.
anymore. We're gonna strip you. It's like, put it. I
How
fell.
good's
I fell.
Oh man, just having my belt stripped away. A lot of people, I mean, obviously count on me to do what I have to do, and nobody's thinking about those people.
Behind the scene, things get even worse. Tony's wife detailed that things began getting worse when Tony injured his knee. At that time, he was also drinking heavily. He began to think she was evil and would not let her shower or be in the bathroom alone. On the 5th of February, Tony allegedly woke Christina and her son up in the middle of the night and said that they had to leave because they were not safe. He believed there would be a great flood as a result of the lunar eclipse. Tony allegedly purchased a life raft and took Christina and their son on the drive
That's it. Let's
inland.
keep it real.
Tony
That's
promised to
CTE
seek help with
100%.
mental issues if there was no
This brother
flood,
got CTE.
but later refused, she wrote. On
I
the
watched
12th of
Concussion.
February,
I
Tony
don't know if
had
you guys seen that movie Concussion. He got CTE. This is what CTE is right here.
what Christina described as a psychotic break or panic attack. I woke up late that night to Tony standing over me, accusing me of being a witch. On February 16th, Tony unplugged the refrigerator and turned off half the power in their home.
When people are standing over you in the middle of the night and calling you witches and warlocks, the next thing to come is a burning. They plan to burn your ass.
Because he believed there
And
were
that's how you
cameras
kill
in the
a witch.
refrigerator
Set the
and
house
ceiling
on
fan.
fire.
Tony allegedly tore the vanity mirror off the bathroom wall because he believed there was something behind it, and took his son's food away because he believed it was poisoned. Christina told police that Tony kept throwing holy water at her. He was advised by the officers to go see a doctor, which he agreed to do at the time. On February 19th, according to Christina, Tony had not slept for 3 days. He believes someone placed a computer chip in his leg.
And
Tony allegedly
already
agreed to be
kind of a
taken for
weird
psychological
dude.
help
In
at the
general,
Keck
he's a
Medical
weird
Center.
dude in
On
general.
March 5th,
So,
while they were driving to the medical
plus
center,
getting
they
punched
hit
in the
traffic
head,
on the freeway. While
that's
the
just
car was
gonna
moving,
exacerbate
Tony
his
jumped out
weirdness.
onto the freeway, ran away, jumped over a fence, and disappeared.
Tony Ferguson, 6 months after a major knee surgery.
6 months. I
back
told you it was just
to the
6
office.
months and he's back in the
911,
game.
what is the address to your emergency? I actually left the location with my son. I was not comfortable with it anymore.
Okay.
He is a professional
these-
fighter.
What's your husband's name?
Tony Ferguson?
Tony?
Yes.
How old is Tony?
He's 35. We've been trying, us and his management team has been trying to get him help, and he refuses. And
Did he hurt you or your children?
No.
No,
He's
you're
just
okay.
doing really just random stuff, like he puts holy water on me. I don't know what's going on with him.
Are you gonna stop somewhere and meet with the police so they can talk to you?
I don't want to go near my house.
Well,
I don't want to go near my house.
Okay, ma'am, not right next to it, just somewhere in that general. Or over MacArthur Place, or I mean wherever you feel comfortable.
This is
wanna-
after he came
you're
back
not
after
comfortable
an
anywhere
injury
near
and
that
felt
house,
because he was
then
crying.
come to work.
And on top of all that too, all the medications they give him, you know he's taking medication, so that Side effects, CTE.
After getting a restraining order against Tony,
he was
Christina
destined to
releases
be
the
a
following
psychopath.
statement.
It's like,
Tony
I'm
Ferguson
surprised
is a
he
good husband
didn't
and
hurt
good father
nobody.
to our son.
Thankfully, he didn't.
The current
But that
legal
could have easily
proceedings
turned into
are
one of
part
those
of a
situations.
process to
Tony's
ensure
a
that Tony
weirdo
will
in
receive the help
general.
necessary to
Without
continue
all
being the best possible.
You medication for his fucked up knee. You know he's stressed out in general.
We're keeping it sweet. We're keeping it savvy, and we'll keep it a little
CTE from all the brain damage. Let's keep it real. He has
to be in
brain
really
damage.
great
He's got
spirits.
punched out
I
multiple
commend
times.
you
He doesn't have the
for,
best defense in
going
general.
headfirst into some-
We don't really think about that. Tony Ferguson doesn't have the best defense. Side effects from the medication. He's already a weirdo in general, naturally a weirdo. It's like, this could have ended really bad in terms of him like burning his house down or doing something, injuring, hurting somebody. I'm glad he didn't. Because
mental
it
health
could have easily
issues
happened.
and working through that. It takes a lot of courage as a professional athlete, especially a lot of people look up to you. I was giving you props.
Didn't I just say weirdo? The dude was just internally Ferguson's mind was like, why are you bringing that fight up? Why are you bringing up my mental issues? Why are you trying to even put a spotlight on that? But the dude wasn't being disrespectful. But Tony Ferguson, like I said, psychotic.
I was just wondering
the advice. Next question.
I wasn't giving you advice, sir. Sorry. Okay.
This guy become a little bit old. Only this one, you know. He is 36, 37 years old. When I beat him, people gonna talk about like, oh, he's old now.
When I start having
See how Khabib already brought up there. Khabib is smart. That's how you got to do, because you know how people are gonna talk. They're gonna talk. Because at that time he was what, like 36 at the time. He was already. This was the fight where he was. This was his last. This is when Gaethje beat dog shit out of him, and from there he just went downhill. Because the fight didn't happen. It was April 18th. It didn't happen. They pushed it back like a week and some change, or maybe 2 weeks. For whatever reason, and Gaethje got a little extra 2 weeks to train. I remember vividly. I got a good memory like an elephant. So, and then Gaethje beat him up, but Khabib probably would have destroyed him in this fight, because as you can see, he was still looking like Tony Ferguson in the fight, but after that loss, it was just like, and I think Gaethje in general just took years off of his, like, he beat him so bad. Like, a lot of people haven't watched that fight. Go back and watch that fight. That was a devastating beating Tony.
21-year-olds outrun me, outwork me, and all this other good stuff.
The fight ended like 30 seconds left, less than
Family,
a minute
friends,
left,
whatever,
so
can always gonna
5
have their opinions, but it doesn't matter.
rounds
Depends on how much your mental toughness is out there
Head trauma.
competing,
Why
and
is
what
he
you're gonna
wearing
do
baseball
with it.
gloves?
You
I
know,
don't
like
understand.
fighter, I respect him, but like human being, I don't understand this guy.
Come on,
He
he's a
little bit
weirdo. He's a weirdo. I always said that Tony Ferguson is a weirdo, and people know it. That's why they always say strange stuff for the cops. Like, Tony's the type of guy to fight with himself and then declare himself the winner and all type of stupid shit, because that's the type of dude he is. He's a weirdo.
without his mind, you know. A little bit stupid guy,
a little bit
honestly.
stupid
Like,
guy.
like
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
a little bit
understand.
stupid
You ain't
guy.
shit without your homeboys, mother.
Like, I don't think he's stupid. I think he's just like a weirdo. Some people just weirdos.
We know who your
Plus
least
CTE.
favorite opponent in history is. Is this the number 2
CTE
least
on top of being a weirdo? Come on.
Sorry, I don't listen.
No,
I'm
bro,
surprised
we
he didn't
know
jump
who-
on the table and do a
We
black
know the opponent.
This is the
Pull out a
fifth
baseball bat and
time
started
it's
trying
scheduled
to
this
hit a home
fight.
run.
Hey,
That's
you know what they
crazy.
say,
Fifth time,
right?
like I
Fifth
said.
time's a charm.
Fifth time. The first 2 times I really can't remember, but I could remember the situations of why. One of them missed weight. This one got injured. That one got injured. I remember. The knee blown out. COVID. Kick that interim belt like that shit.
There's something I forgot to mention. The year is 2020.
Today we got a call from
2020 COVID.
the highest level you
Out
can
of
go at
nowhere.
Disney and the highest level of ESPN. And the
They,
powers
like,
that
shut
be
that
there
down.
asked me to stand down and not do this event next Saturday.
UFC 249 has been canceled. All UFC events postponed indefinitely due to COVID-19. Dana White says he's ready to promote the event, but things were taken out of his control.
Could we all just acknowledge how Dana White is a top G? He's a top G. Because he said, fuck all that. Fuck this COVID shit. People finna get their ass beat. And I'm like, I'm here for that. Because nothing else was going on. It was, well, I don't watch nothing else really, so yeah. So I was kind of stressed because I'm like, I don't watch basketball, I don't watch football, I don't watch baseball, I don't watch hockey, I don't watch none of that stuff. None of those things entertain me. Besides UFC, MMA, kickboxing, boxing, I could watch any type of fighting. I don't want to see people run up and down the court shooting a ball and hoop. That's just me personally. I don't knock people who do it. It's just not entertaining to me.
Found out that Khabib Nurmagomedov wouldn't be able to fight at UFC 249, that he was back home in Russia, and it appears now for the 5th time the fight is off.
He does not want to fight. I guarantee you this dude's going to try to retire, man, without fighting.
You know, I'm starting to believe Joe Rogan that this fight is cursed. And, you know, you and I were here 2 years ago having this conversation. The fight was canceled. Yeah.
The fight against Habib is canceled.
This time it was
Tony wants to
nobody's
make a
fault.
point
It was
and
COVID,
still
but it's
decides
like-
to cut weight for it.
There's always something going on with this fight.
Skinny.
What did you make of his decision to cut weight twice in a very short amount of time?
That's another thing. Cut weight twice.
Stupid.
The UFC replaces Habib with
Khabib's not dumb. Khabib knows. Everybody knows who cut weight. It takes so much out of you. You're never going to be 100%. They're never 100% when they get in that cage, especially after cutting the weight. The training and all that, all right. But if they could just train, get to the best shape they can without, like, sucking down, most of them, they would not be fighting at the weight class they fighting at, and they would be way better and stronger. So Khabib know he be near death when he's cutting weight. So he like, why would he do that? You was 100, you cutting 30 pounds within a 2 weeks period twice. That's another thing too. I think
the most violent lightweight of all time.
Well, it didn't have
Just
that much of
engaged.
an
Tony
effect on
Ferguson
like his
versus
brain
Justin
in terms
Gaethje.
of 'cause
Ridiculous
he
fight
took a
and
bunch
a
of
fight that
punches and he didn't
absolutely
get
makes
knocked out,
sense.
so
Khabib versus Tony should be happening, but it should have happened 5 times ago.
Tony now has to cut weight again. Only 3 weeks after he did it for Habib.
I don't know why he did that.
Nobody can be same long time.
Come on, nobody.
No Tony Ferguson, no Khabib, nobody. And one day, someone gonna beat you or something gonna happen, you know? And his day come.
I watched this fight probably 8 times since then, and every time I watch it, it's like, I'm like, one, I feel bad for Tony, and I'm like, it's like, cause you watching the last, this is the last of it. Gaethje took it from him. Gaethje in general, I don't know if a lot Gaethje ruined a lot of careers. I don't know how they are. I don't really follow their careers so much after they fight him, but the damage you take when you fight Justin Gaethje is just not. He take a lot of damage too. He's gonna be all fucked up in his later career, but this beating he put on, and it was a lot of fighters he did is to beat them down. So. Pushing Tony Ferguson around like right here, it's just like he didn't even knock him out. He just beat him so bad. He beat him dizzy to where he was shaking his head. He was so dizzy from the beating. Oh my God! Like that's worse than getting knocked out. He's better off just knocking him out and then he waking up and recovering or whatever. But he beat him up so bad. He hit him with a jab. The dude was so dizzy, he shook his head and didn't know where he was. Didn't fall down to the ground, nothing. Wasn't like, didn't get rocked or wobbled by the blow. Caught a jab, turned his chin, and just shook his head because he didn't know, dizzy. Oh my God, the brain damage.
Tony Ferguson's time is finished. You know, now he gonna come back, someone gonna beat him again, I believe, because when you take damage like this, you're never gonna be same.
Khabib, I don't know if he's psychic, but he everything he was saying was real. He's gonna lose again. You cannot take a beating like that at that age. Tony Ferguson, if he was like 21, 22, it's like he's still young, he could do some things, but at 37 years old,
Nobody spoke up for me to get a title fight. A 12 fight win streak. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong?
That's how you know he's mentally not there. You had like 3 title shots. It just wasn't happening for unforeseen circumstances.
He's 37.
Make it seem like they just never gave you a
the
title
latter
shot.
end of his career, but it still could be the best part of his career. It just depends on him.
I still haven't even hit my prime yet.
Thanks.
You dodged me too, Chandler. I'm gonna be real. You got this shit handed to you. You got Dana White privilege.
What is success here for you, Tony? I mean, is this all about, results oriented?
Goats come and go, but boats stay float. I'm a boat. I'm the best of all time. I feel at this point in time in my life, I'm just barely hitting my prime.
Tony Ferguson crazy winning a fight
I'm hurt,
since. I thought for a split second in my mind that he won a fight, but he didn't. He didn't win any fights since then. I don't think he won a round. Maybe he won a round. I think he won the round against Chandler.
I love that feeling because it's real. That's the most realest feeling that you could ever have, is being in pain, because everything else, happiness could be fake, crying could be fake, but pain? Shit. That's real.
That took the shit away. That was it. That knockout, he lost every round against him. He landed, he won the first round against Chandler. The Nate Diaz got choked out.
Tony, you know this, right? You don't need me to tell you this. People love you. Like, people genuinely love you. The fans love you. They have your back. When you speak, they listen. They really do love you. And the loyalty that your fan base has for you is pretty incredible. Like, so I hope you recognize that a lot of people have your back. A lot of people want to see you happy, want to see you succeed.
That's crazy.
And want to support you. So I hope you know that.
No, motherfucker. I'm gonna be done when I want to be done.
By the way, Tony was right about one thing. Khabib did end up retiring before ever.
That's the end of the video. What a way to go. For a lot of fighters, it's usually how they end up going out, man. A bunch of losses. Head down. People feeling sorry for them. A shadow of their former self. And that's never how you want to go out. So it's always best to quit while you're ahead. Or when you're at the top, leave when you're at the top. That quit while you're ahead is a real thing. It's a serious thing. People take it for granted. It's for jokes. It's serious. You got to go when you're at the top. Leave when you're at the top when all the chips is there. You see Khabib, even though he left maybe a little, but he left at the top, his legacy will remain being what it is. Tony Ferguson legacy now is not looking too good, because he just kept coming back and losing in devastating fashion. The same thing with Woodley. You gotta just get out. You're done. You're done. You can't keep up with these dudes no more. You don't got it no more. You took too much of a beating. That's the end of the video. Like and subscribe. I'll be back to y'all with another one. Let's go.